Thank you for watching today's Nintendo Direct.
What? It's done?
This next trailer will be our last.
Oh my god! Next trailer! Holy f... Hold on! Hold on! This is Zelda! This is Zelda! Oh my god! Oh my god! What the... What is that? Okay, that looks like the princess. Yeah, that's definitely the princess. The writings over there as well. Oh no! Oh my god! Please show us the title! Oh my... Oh my god! What is that?! Tears of the Kingdom! Holy, no my god! We got a title! Oh my god! And the logo looks amazing! Oh my god! Oh my god! Nintendo has revealed a new trailer for the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Wait, no, we don't have to call it that anymore, as it is now officially known as The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and it contains a lot of new and interesting information for us to dissect. The trailer begins with a shot of a stone mural. A mural which is seen throughout the beginning and end of the trailer. The first shot of the mural reveals a strange humanoid figure, one who we have never seen in the series before. Not much can be said about this being, other than its eyes seem to resemble an inverted Sheikah eye, with 3 inverted triangles but no tear. Perhaps this being significant considering the name of the game. Another thing to point out is the bracelets it is wearing. Could this be the same being we saw sealing Ganon in the first teaser? Does the spirit hand belong to this being? I think it is likely, considering it seems to be quite an important figure, venerated as if it were a deity. Its face, as well as its ears, crown, looks strikingly similar to Bluepies, spiritual creatures from Breath of the Wild tied to the Lord of the Mountain, Satori, whom itself was the reincarnation of an ancient sage. Could this be said ancient sage, or perhaps someone connected to Satori? Something to note is found on its forehead, which looks to be a closed third eye. Third eyes are very important spiritually speaking, as it is a sign of enlightenment, as well as in the Zelda series, with the Sheikah drawing a third eye on their foreheads. The fact it is closed suggests it's not yet enlightened, and this same thing of not fully reaching enlightenment is present in the Sky Islands with the closed lotus flowers, which, according to Hinduism and Buddhism, a fully bloomed lotus flower represents enlightenment, so a closed lotus flower means it hasn't fully reached enlightenment. The being is standing atop a floating platform, and around it is 7 circles with a spiral pattern in the middle. My first thought was that these beings were depicting the 7 stages surrounding this being, but it is probably more likely that these are depicting 7 objects we will have to collect throughout the game. Perhaps those orbs of light from the previous teaser, which, based on the title of the game, could very well be Tears of Light, like those seen in Twilight Princess, or rather, the titular Tears of the Kingdom. To the sides of the platform, we see text in an unknown language, the same language present in the previous trailers. It is abundantly clear that this will be the new ciphertext found in the game, replacing those of the Sheikah. The next mural we see depicts what looks to be a war between a faction of soldiers wielding swords and shields, and legions of bokoblins and moblins enshrouded in a cloud of malice, which curiously enough have the long horns, despite this being a depiction of events from the past. It is unclear who these people fighting the bokoblins and moblins are, but I believe this is our first look at the people of the Zonai tribe. The moblins are wielding a new, unseen weapon which looks to be a double scythe, while the bokoblins carry their traditional boko clubs. Some of the sword-wielding people, which I will call the Zonai for simplicity's sake, aren't wielding swords, and the others in the bottom row are even holding their swords and shields in the opposite direction, compared to the rest. It is unclear if these have turned against the others and joined with the monster army. We next see a shot of a long-haired woman that looks to be floating in the air unconscious, who might actually be an ancient Princess Zelda. This image instantly brought to mind the end of Skyward Sword, where Zelda floated above the sealed grounds just before Demise was resurrected by Girahim. Next, we see part of a mural which is later seen in full at the end of the trailer. It depicts the same woman as before, interlocking her hand with the mysterious figure from the previous mural. The woman, whom I will call Zelda for simplicity's sake, like the mysterious figure, has an eye which closely looks like an inverted Sheikah eye. I don't think this is merely a coincidence. After all, the green golem from the earlier trailers also had what looked to be an inverted Sheikah eye on its sides. Then, we see two large gates bigger than any Hinox in Hyrule. These white stone doors are adorned with two dragons, which have words written in Zonai language, which currently is undecipherable. On the top corners of the door, we can see circular patterns reminiscent of those seen in Sheikah technology from Breath of the Wild. This is, in fact, the new pattern of Tears of the Kingdom, replacing the Breath of the Wild pattern, which was seen all over the walls of the Sheikah shrines. This pattern is based on the Karen Sansui, the Japanese dry gardens, usually found at temples or monasteries, intended to imitate the essence of nature as well as to aid in meditation. In Shinto religion, white sand or gravel used to symbolize purity, which perfectly fits the theme they are going for the Sky Islands. In fact, we directly see dry gardens in the Sky Islands inside the small shrine-like structures, so expect to see more of this pattern in the game. The door also has an eye-shaped handle which Link is obscuring with his body. However, thanks to this tweet by Nintendo of Japan, we can fully see the design of the eye pattern, which is quite different to any of the eye symbols we've seen before. It is clear that the Zonai have ties to eye symbology, just like the Sheikah. Whether these two tribes are related or separate remains to be seen, although I personally believe that the Zonai are a faction of the Sheikah who devoted themselves to the virtue of courage, just like the Sheikah devoted themselves to the virtue of wisdom, and the Sheikah to the virtue of power, each tribe representing a different virtue of the Triforce. As Link opens the gates, the light of the outside world illuminates the screen, as we find ourselves atop one of the many Sky Islands, where a set of stairs lead towards a torii-like gate, as seen in previous trailers. On each side, we can see two dragon heads, a motif that is ever present on all Zonai architecture of Faron. These particular dragon heads are set apart from the rest, as they have a singular horn atop their head, perhaps depicting the protector dragon of the Spring of Courage, Farosh, whom the Zonai would have definitely seen during their time, as the Spring of Courage is quite literally within the Zonai ruins. This room Link exits could very well be the starting area of the game, Tears of the Kingdom's version of the Shrine of Resurrection. as the opening door letting in the light is quite similar to how the door opened in Breath of the Wild. In fact, I strongly believe that this shot of Link laying down on a circular pedestal with the green hand attached to him from the previous trailer precedes the door shot, the events of the start of Tears of the Kingdom being parallel to Breath of the Wild, but instead of taking place on the surface, it would take place in the sky. Link begins to sprint and leaps off the edge, diving headfirst into the clouds. As he does this, we get a glimpse at a large structure in the horizon, the very same structure previously seen hiding behind some clouds in the last trailer. What exactly is this structure? It certainly seems of importance. A dungeon perhaps? Or a sacred sanctuary? Perhaps it will be a location we will return to throughout the adventure as we progress through the game, where, with the tears we will collect, we will heal and reforge the Master Sword back to its full strength, or perhaps even beyond. Something to note here is that these two shots are not continuous. It is not the same sequence. They are not in the same location. On Link's hip, there is a strange artifact where the Sheikah Slate used to be. A set of green vials containing what I assume to be some form of green liquid. This instantly brought to mind the vessels of the Tears of Light from Twilight Princess. However, I believe this serves another purpose. On page 203 of Creating a Champion, we can find concept art for the Sheikah Slate, or Conductor as it was called at the time. And in those concepts, we can see a cartridge with orange liquid inside, which may have powered the slate or allowed for the runes to be used. It is highly likely that this concept was reused for Tears of the Kingdom, with the color being changed from orange to green to fit the green energy of the hand. We know Nintendo has been using concept art from Breath of the Wild for Tears of the Kingdom. One example being this concept art, where they reused the idea of Link with a replaced arm, which can be used in replacement to the Sheikah Slate, as well as a broken Master Sword. Or perhaps this glider, which inspired the design of the new glider seen in the previous trailer for Tales of the Kingdom, with these streams in the wind to show the direction of the wind. Who knows what other concept art they will reuse for Tales of the Kingdom, like perhaps these early concepts of the Guardians, one of which I took the liberty of making in 3D to fuel your deepest nightmares. The new item also has an eye design identical to that seen in the shield, showing the clear motif of the game, and perhaps also replacing the Sheikah Eye symbol as well. Just as Link is about to jump off the cliff, behind two islands and some clouds, we can see what looks to be a blue dragon flying by. During Breath of the Wild, 3 dragons would emerge and disappear through cloud portals high atop the sky. I think it's safe to say that the dragons traveled to these islands whenever they went away. Considering it is a blue dragon, could this be Naydra? Or perhaps a different dragon entirely? There may be more dragons beyond Naydra, Farosh and Inral residing in these islands. After all, the people who built them venerate the dragons. That is abundantly clear based on all the dragon iconography. We next see the return of the time reversal mechanic we last saw in the previous trailer being used against bokoblins and moblins. This time, Link uses it to reverse time on a large rock and launch himself towards the sky, a clever means to reach the Sky Islands. We can also hear how this ability has a ticking clock sound effect while it's being used, to further illustrate how this is a time manipulating ability. The location of this shot is Korta Lake, just above Floria Falls. We can instantly see by comparing the two shots that the rock being reversed has replaced a boulder that was there in Breath of the Wild, which, when removed with stasis, revealed 2 wooden chests, one with a silver rupee and another with a gold rupee. As Link ascends skyward, he passed a new winged creature never before seen in Breath of the Wild. Could this be a returning Kagurok? In Twilight Princess, these birds had bat wings, and knowing how Breath of the Wild, and now Tears of the Kingdom, likes to redesign every enemy that returns, this could very well be a Kagurok making its return to the series. We also see a large tempestuous cloud roaring with lightning, which engulfs some of the floating islands. Where could this cloud be hiding? It reminds me in a way of Skyward Sword's Thunderhead, which hid the Isle of Songs and Levias within. Perhaps if we approach the storm cloud, we would get electrified by the lightning strikes. Then we see Link climbing the root of a large tree on top of the floating islands, wearing the green garb from the previous trailers. We can see that Link is also wielding a new, crudely made axe weapon, which seems to be made of stone and bone or wood, possibly stolen from an enemy. But things get very interesting with the next shot, as there is quite a lot to unpack. This shot right here is taken from above Ludfos Bog, facing to the east and panning to the south. Right from the start, we can see the floating Hyrule Castle in the middle, surrounded by tendrils of malice as it was in the prior trailer. Death Mountain is also seen in the horizon, but this time, rather than being inactive like in the last trailer, or flaming like in Breath of the Wild, we see that it is spewing malice out of its crater, just like the hole beneath Hyrule Castle. Right beside Death Mountain, we see that something quite important is missing from the shot, and that, of course, is Korok Forest and the Great Deku Tree, which have completely disappeared from Hyrule. There is only one explanation for this disappearance. The forest must have risen high atop the clouds, with the Deku Tree now floating among the other islands in the sky. As the camera pans to the right, we can see many more things in the shot. We see a new settlement atop Lindo's Brow, next to the swamp where the Richland Tower was located. This tower seems to be of Highland construction, instead of that of the Zonai. Other structures of presumably Hylian make can also be seen in this shot, such as a large cube-like structure atop a cliff right beside Illumini Plateau, or a rock pillar with an unknown structure at the edge of Tanaga Canyon, replacing one of the windmills. In North Hyrule Plains, right above the Bridge of Demise, as well as the top of the Illumini Plain, we see patterns glowing in a bright green. Upon closer inspection, this seemed to depict a person with an arm extended forward. These patterns seem to be glowing green with the use of luminous stones, a mineral which is used extensively by the Zonai in their architecture. What their purpose may be is a complete mystery, but they remind me quite a lot of Nazca lines, which are also a complete mystery, just like the Zonai. What makes these patterns especially intriguing is that they directly remind me of patterns seen across all the architecture and magic of the Twilight in Twilight Princess, but we will come back to this a little bit later in the video. We can also see this emblem with 4 bolts of electricity on the cliffside of the Gerudo Highlands, which belonged to the Kihayuk shrine quest from Breath of the Wild, a cool remnant of the shrines of the prior game. Whether it will remain as a simple pattern on the mountainside, or will be reused for another purpose, remains to be seen. At the bottom of the shot, on a cliff of Mount Rome, we can see a strange pedestal emitting the same spiraling green energy of the hand. Another of these pedestals can also be seen past Illumini Plateau, at the base of the cliffs of Ruvara. It is very noticeable, and you have to go frame by frame to see it, as it disappears in some frames due to the quality of the video. It is unclear what their purpose will be, but perhaps it could be a terminal to launch Link towards the sky, similar to how an updraft of wind would generate after praying to the Loftwing statues in Skyward Sword. But perhaps this could also be teleportation stations, as there has to be a way to quickly move around the world, considering the shrines are all but gone from the map, taking the teleportation platforms with them. In fact, there should be a shrine right across from this pedestal past the stable. This could very well be the case, primarily due to its proximity to the stable, as in Breath of the Wild, all stables had shrines close to them for easy accessibility, so there must be more of these pedestals scattered across Hyrule, especially beside the other stables and main settlements such as Goron City, Zora's Domain, and Rito Village. And the most striking thing of this shot by far is the bird-like stone glider Link jumps on top of at the end of the shot. A bird which shares the same colors and motifs as all the other architecture we've seen of the Zonai, especially those of the Green Golem. Link atop this stone bird brings to mind the Loftwings from Skyward Sword, with Link now riding, in a sense, an artificially constructed Loftwing. I do wonder if this stone bird will remain stationary in certain locations, or if you will be able to fly to any location with it, considering we also have a paraglider to glide through in the air. Perhaps this will be used to jump to any location using said paraglider. And finally, we get to the logo and title reveal. We are first shown the main icon of the logo, two serpentine dragons locked in a perfect circle, each biting the tail of the other. At first, I thought of the Ouroboros, a symbol of a serpent biting its own tail, but since it's two, it is instead the double Ouroboros. According to some researchers, a double Ouroboros, also called Ouroboros Oren, symbolizes infinity, which may be where the symbol of infinity could have originated from, perhaps alluding to the never-ending cycle of the Zelda series. The logo also shows the decrepit Master Sword we last saw in the previous teaser, completed by a blade made of green patterns. These patterns, like the patterns found on parts of Hyrule as seen earlier in the trailer, have a striking resemblance to the patterns of the Twilight from Twilight Princess, with even the color of the markings being an exact match. Not only that, but both the Zonai and the Twilight share symbolism of twin Serpentine dragons, and are both tribes of magic users who long ago vanished without a trace from the kingdom. Then, we also have the stone monument of Palmyra ruins, which also looks like the Mirror of Twilight and glows like the fused shadow thanks to luminous stones. And of course, the fact that both the Zonai and Twilight use swirls in their architecture and culture. I am convinced, without a shadow of a doubt, that these two tribes are one and the same. In fact, I have believed this for so long, I even have a video about it from 3 years ago. Check it out after this video. Could the sword as presented in the title actually show up in this game? I can imagine this Master Sword just bringing forth this green blade, similar to how the blades of the Guardian Swords appears out of the hilt, just like a lightsaber. Then, we get the reveal of the title of the game, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. It feels surreal to no longer be calling it Breath of the Wild 2. As for what the title itself means, it could be a variety of things. Actual tears, as we described earlier, being collectibles we will have to obtain, which will have a great significance to the story, like, for example, restoring the Master Sword to its former self. Or, perhaps, tears as in schisms, the kingdom being ripped apart, either literally with floating islands, or figuratively. Personally, I lean more towards the first option. And finally, we get the release date for the game, coming May 12th, 2023. While we have covered all there is to cover for the trailer, there is one more thing that was revealed today: official artwork for the game. Painted in the same brushstroke-like style as the artworks of both Breath of the Wild and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, it depicts Link atop one of the Sky Islands. We can also see Death Mountain spewing malice, as well as Hyrule Castle in the center, but we can also see in the horizon a large hurricane swirling in the distance. This hurricane seems to have engulfed Rito Village whole, at least based on its position relative to Hyrule Castle and Death Mountain. If this is true, then perhaps all the races and major locations will be plagued with major catastrophes. Whatever the fate of these locations may be, one thing is for certain: I cannot wait for Tears of the Kingdom to finally release. And that was my reaction and analysis to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Are you excited for this game? I definitely am. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of future uploads. Also, consider sharing this video and follow me on Twitter and Instagram to stay in touch. This has been Sololo, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.